Hello and welcome back to another edition of How Art Thou? My name's Austin, and today we're going to be doing some storyboards. So once again, we're using Clip Studio Paint Pro. That's a mouthful. And we're going to be working on the music video I had mentioned in the last episode. So that one is this here, Pixel Hearts. Um, so this one's just going to be kind of like a lot of cuts of like video game references. It's going to be set to a song. If you'd like to see what the song is, it is John Hughes. That's the name of the song, John Hughes. And it's done by Anna Monoguchi. Really fun chiptune band. One of my favorites. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna start moving right along. So right now, if you can see where my arrow is, I'm gonna be in backgrounds. I'm gonna kind of start things off. If you're new to animation, so am I. I've animated little stuff here and there, mostly for tiny projects and just trying to practice in my own time. Currently going to school for it. Haven't had any, you know, official classes yet, so this will be kind of me figuring things out as we go here. Um, but yeah, we're gonna start out in backgrounds. So this is this little area here. We're going to kind of sketch out, um, let's see, kind of our opening shot. So, whoop, yeah, there we go. Let me. Is this the one I want? Yeah. So, anyways, starting out here, we're just gonna kind of doodle uh, our little room here. Kind of starting in with the couch. So, since the last video, one thing I noticed that I could have improved on was topics. It's definitely hard when you're just kind of, I guess, just winging it. So I'm gonna try doing. Let's go back. Doing topics. Uh, so every episode I'll kind of have something I'll try to stay on, but it'll probably won't work out that well. Um, as you have noticed from the first episode. So right now we got our couch. This is our table. And we have a light over here, but it doesn't really fit in frame. But I'm okay with that. Probably gonna put like some controllers right here. Maybe like a remote. And we'll go through and kind of clean it up a little bit as we go back. And drinks. Probably some like some Chipotle, because that is one thing we enjoy in my household is some dang fine Chipotle. Honestly, I was always more of a fan of Qdoba, but there are like none in my area anymore. There's a bummer because their Mexican gumbo is dang fine. Let's see here. So we got this. Oh yeah, we got kind of like a big mirror over here. I'm kind of just keeping it loose, trying to. I think. Well, you won't really see those in that angle, because then we have the wall back here. I mean, this should be lower, honestly. But once I have the characters walk through this scene, it'll be a little easier to kind of show how things are working. So this is a storyboard. If for those of you who don't know, storyboard kind of just is the creator's tool to kind of get a feel for certain scenes and shots before actually going in and doing them. So if you want a big old scene with a dinosaur destroying a city or whatever, and obviously that costs a lot of money, so you're going to want to see how it looks before you spend all the money on actually doing it. So you get some storyboards and kind of sketch it out a little bit and see how it looks. because they're used not just for cartoons but also for live action movies. There's liquid in here or something. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know how. Oh, probably put a book over here. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, let's just keep it kind of loose like this for now. Because I might want to rearrange some things later. All right, so for topics, today I'm going to be talking comics. Because I had brought up Phantom Street in the last episode. So I think since I did comics for so long, I might as well kind of talk about it a little bit. Let me get this little angle in here first. I guess as far as comics go, I officially started doing them back when I was in high school. I had my first comic was called Mythical Problems or Mystical Problems. I couldn't decide, so I just kept changing. This is okay. Yeah, we'll go back in and we'll clean up everything. So before I go on to that story, so this is kind of like my frame. This is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm going to be having the characters come in from these two sides. So male character coming in, girl character coming in, and I'm thinking about either putting in the cat, like kind of walking through, like going this way, or having him up here, you know, walking this way. The thing is our cat doesn't really go on the couch often, so I don't think I'll end up doing that. But I kind of like that where he's just kind of going past the table. Also, I don't have to draw him, so that'll be nice. Give yourself some less work. Okay. Sorry if I say a lot. I'm actually working on that. So first project or comic I did, Mystical Problems, followed a couple adventurers who... Ooh, let me check this out here. Get a look at the timeline. Yeah, okay, we're on this one. Actually, we on this one. Oh yeah, because that's part of that. Okay, never mind. How tall do I want to make these characters? Let me sketch this out one second. I need to kind of think about how I want to do this. Yeah, here's the floor. Because then there's parts like this is... Because how I had it in my head was they're kind of like cut off a little bit, but that makes them a little too tall. Like you don't really get a look at their face until they enter the frame. So here's walking in. Kind of want to keep it relatively normal, I guess, for this opening part. Because then it's kind of like they get like sucked into the video game world, so they're a little different. Kind of like in Final Fantasy VII, how they have their like outer world appearance when they're like in combat, and then when they're in the world, they're like these little. Let me line that up so I can kind of get a feel for this. Here we go. All right, so character enters in. The Mystical Problems, comic book I used to work on. I did about, it wasn't a comic book, that was more of a strip. So at the time, back in the day, my friends were really into Morrowind, kind of what became, uh, what was part of the Elder Scrolls series. And for some reason, like, everybody loved that game except me. I just had a hard time with it. I think because it was like, once you showed up into like this little magical world, like everybody's a jerk to you. And I was like, it's kind of a turnoff. Like, I want to be a fantasy world. Like, people are jerks in real life. Why would I want to deal with that in a fantasy world? Um, so yeah, it just didn't cling to it. I think I played like maybe 3 or 4 hours of it, and I was like, this does not appeal to me. Kind of like, ooh, that is some hair. So I did a comic kind of parodying it because my friends loved it in high school, and I was like, this sucks, and I'll show you why. So I would just kind of do little strips, and the two characters, if I can remember their names. Oh, it was Marin, like Marron, Marin, and Thebe, like the city in Greece. Um, or Rome, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've done any kind of geography stuff. How tall do I want? That's fine. Yeah, because a lot of this is okay. No, that goes out. Whoop. So you had Thebe, who he was the mage character. He was like super. He thought he was smarter than everybody, which obviously got him into a lot of trouble. Because he was not a guy who knew how to be humble. And in a fantasy setting where, like, like you look at Tolkien or whatever, where everybody's these great, warriors of some, like, everybody has their own title and all that stuff. Like, he wasn't really that impressive of a person. He's probably been on a handful of quests, didn't really complete a lot of them for whatever reason. Probably got beat up pretty bad. Didn't have a lot of friends. He's kind of a jerk, but I think at his core he still wanted to be a hero. Like, even though he couldn't see himself, and oh man, I don't know, maybe I'm making his head too big. Get the lasso. There we go. Ooh, I don't know. This let's move. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted to. There we go. All right, let's I forgot how to shrink scale. There we go. Yeah, because then we'll give them more of the chibi look when they're in the more pixelated world. Okay. I could spend a while and fix this up, actually. And then you had Marin. So Marin from Mythical Problems. He was an idiot. That's the only, like, his character I didn't really put that much depth into, because I wanted him to be the goof that gets into trouble. Man, this looks, ooh boy. I'll fix it up in a bit, because this is looking a little rough in this crotch region. What's going on here? His body's going north and his legs are going south. I need to bring that forward. And Thebe would kind of be like the cynical one who would kind of get Marin out of trouble. My problem with it is that the dynamic wasn't very original, I would say, is my problem with it. Which is why it's not like, even though it was my first comic strip I ever produced, it was not one that I was like, oh, I need to bring this back. Like Phantom Street, I'm bringing it back. Like I'm working on it. That one's my baby. I put a lot of love into it. Whereas Mystical Problems, like I can't even decide on what name I want to call it, even when I'm reminiscing about it. It was all right. It was fun. Like there was some good parts of it, I want to say. Um, I think later, so the way that one worked was I would just make it in like a spiral bound notebook and I would do it in between classes. And so when my friends, like, and we would meet up for lunch or whatever, or we were in the same class together, I'd bust them out and be like, oh, check it out. I made more copies of it. And so, that was just kind of what we did. Some of the other kids would make their own comic strips in between classes and stuff. It was a good time. I mean, obviously, it's high school. But I'm trying to think, what else was there? Because I did a couple others too during high school. Did I want it that short? I mean, I'm going to fix these proportions later. I just kind of want to get a feel for how much space I want them to take up. So they're going to be entering in the scene, and then I'm going to have them both sit down, kind of look at each other, and then I'm going to grab, I should put a little, yeah, so he's going to grab a controller, and then he's going to point it towards the frame, and click, turn it on. So, and that'll kind of start the music video, because the song itself has like a little opening. Going back here. Alright, I'll draw her. Here we go. So, oh yeah, so there was another one. So another comic strip I did in high school, it was called Hater. The number 8 and the letter R. Hater. And basically it was just like, because my friends and I would talk video games, comics, kind of everything, sci-fi, horror, whatever, just, being nerds, having a good time. Not dating in high school, it was a good time. And, let's see. Yeah, that one was kind of just like me and my friends, or, just kind of, we were like these hitmen or something, and we would like battle celebrities. Like, so it was a guy who was so mad at celebrities and stuff and pop culture and junk. I want her a little farther in. Let's bring her in. And he would just kind of, just get into hijinks. Like, he gets like kidnapped by like what was it? Oh yeah, George Lucas, because I think at that time, episode 3 of Star Wars had just come out, and even though we enjoyed it, we were still talking a lot of crap on the prequel. So I was like, oh, it'd be funny if we had our character who hated the prequels and went to go attack George Lucas, but George Lucas had all these traps in his house, and he had a lightsaber fight him, and so it was just kind of like a fun little comic where it's like, oh no, he's gotta fight Darth Vader and George Lucas, and he's gotta blow up the place. And that one, I didn't do that one for too long. That one was okay. It was fun in the time, but it was a lot like Mystical Problems, where I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't bring it back at all. Like, by no means was like a passion project of mine. And then let's see, what else? I feel like there was another one that I'm forgetting. But those were the two main ones. So I did those in strip forms, and like I said, just kind of passed them out to my friends, and we would read them and make jokes. And um, oh yeah, and then I did my first official comic that I was working on at the time, and that one was called Moon Fetish. So Moon Fetish, that one was about kind of going back to the whole mercenary thing. Was it because it was easy to draw and not easy to draw? It was easy to write and fun to draw because you could just have a character who just shows up and just starts, fighting stuff. And Moon Fetish was about this mercenary guy who hunted werewolves and vampires and stuff. But this is a world where, everybody's aware of vampires and Frankensteins and all this stuff. Like, it's commonplace. And it's just kind of a normal world still. Like, nothing has really changed. There's no, political issues, really. It's just kind of like, I don't really want to dive into that. Let's get into the fun stuff. So you had the main character was named Monty Macio, and his thing was that he was a zombie attack survivor. So there was a nuclear spill at his school, and everybody at his prom gets turned into zombies. So cue, kind of stereotypical zombie story of kid stuck at prom, has to fight his way out. He goes from being a nerd to being the kid who saves the day. But the problem is that he gets toxic waste from the zombie spill on him, and he gets all these sores and pustules growing on half of his body. It's not very attractive. And from then on, he gets paid a bunch of money from the government since the event, since he was the only survivor of that, school incident. So he starts his own kind of, I don't know, mercenary service. He's a hitman, but only for monsters and stuff, because obviously you can't really handle those kind of things if you're a regular dude, but he specializes in it. And he's had a big nerdy companion who's his tech guy, this fat guy who's obsessed with anime, big beard. He was one of his friends, Monty's friends from high school, but he didn't go to prom because he couldn't get a date. And he's his sidekick, does all of his computer stuff, like Spider-Man Homecoming, where he's the computer guy. And so they just kind of go on adventures. The first one he's working with, sorry if this zooming in and out stuff kind of f's with you, that's just kind of how I move across the panel. Let's see. Maybe I should just have the tail sticking out, and then once they sit down, his head pokes out. That'd be kind of cute. Because I don't want to, add too much movement in here. I think that'd look cute. Let's try it. But the thing was, one of the catches with Moon Fetish, so Monty has all of these pustules and stuff all over his body, and he that looks good. That's good. It's good for the first frame here. I like that. He figures out after getting attacked by a werewolf that because of the acid splashing on him, it essentially turns his blood into a holy water, another. Well, I already said acid, but acid. Let's say that. So the only way he can fight monsters is actually by getting beat up. So it was kind of a fun concept to have this character who's pretty terrible. Hold on, let me go back here. onion skin. Perfect. Then we'll have them sit down here. Whoop. Looks like it is 26 minutes here. So I'm going to try to keep these videos about 20 to 30 minutes, just so I don't bore you guys too much. Working on having some guests soon, doing some fun videos coming up. As for now, I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh yeah, and if you didn't see on the YouTube page, I'll be posting every day except Friday and Saturday. So you can kind of watch the whole process of the storyboard while I do it. But yeah, have a great day, guys. Go do art. And yeah, later.